So nearby Lucas, riddle me this. What are we talking about today?
Oh no, God, why?
The Riddler. Can we, for this one as well, just put like all the question marks behind me?
Oh my God, yeah.
Instead of the word cloud, just a bunch of question marks.
Yeah.
Perfect. So nearby Lucas, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the mystery, the enigma, Mr. Enigma himself, the Riddler.
Yes, be careful how you say that one, but this is obviously inspired by the new Batman movie, in which he is the title villain, yes?
We believe so, yeah.
According to marketing material, and we should clarify that the Batman movie has not come out yet, so if any of our guesses, assumptions, or theories about the upcoming Batman movie are incorrect, let us know in the comments, but be aware that we literally did not have the knowledge that you do right now.
Yeah, we are recording like a week before the movie comes out, and we haven't really paid attention to trailers or anything.
And I wanted to ask you, Lucas, do you think that DC can help themselves and not put the Joker in this one?
If he was a main villain in the film, they would have marketed the fuck out of that. But I think he's going to be like, the post-credit sting.
That's exactly my thought as well, which is not really a wild assumption because DC can't help themselves. It's always either put Batman in or put the Joker in.
Batman's already in it.
Yeah,
so
they can't help themselves. Like, what's that game that's coming out where you play as every member of the Bat family except Batman?
Oh, Gotham Knights.
The literal first few seconds of a trailer is, Batman's dead. It's like, oh, he's alive then. He's not dead, is he? I've never believed any piece of marketing less than Batman's dead. But without further ado, we have here the Riddler, and for anyone curious, we're referring to the Batman Wiki, a link to which you can find below. So the Riddler, Edward Enigma, sometimes spelled Nygma by some writers, an enemy of Batman created by Bill Finger and artist Dick Sprang. Fucking name there, isn't it? Mr. Fingers and Mr. Dick, let's go. So, known for his purple domino mask and green question mark covered costume, either as a skin-tight cat suit or a business suit and bowler hat, and his special question mark shaped cane. Are all canes question mark shaped? Also, like that idea of like the Riddler wearing just the green costume covered in question marks, I love that. And I'm so annoyed that like I've seen the poster of what the Riddler looks like now. He just looks like a fucking serial killer. He just looks like a mass shooter. Like, what? That's not the Riddler. He's not green.
I wish, like, as much as I love it, I wish that Nolan trilogy never came out so that we didn't have this giant trend of every movie, like, living up to the so serious, mature movies. They have to be so, like, dark and gritty. Yeah. It's like, put him in a green fucking outfit!
Like, those movies kneecapped the entirety of DC's live-action output for, like, decades. Because all of DC's live-action output is seemingly obsessed with the idea they have to be taken seriously. Mm-hmm. And as a result, it just feels so much less fun. And I get it, because The Dark Knight made like $1 billion and got an Oscar nod. But at the same time, Batman is a story about a man in $1 billion fursuit beating up the mentally ill. No, these are serious pieces of art. You have to take them seriously. It's like, the more you tell me to take it seriously, the funnier it gets. Mm-hmm. Like, Man of Steel, like, and here's the thing, we can't show this clip because every time we try to put it in a previous video, it gets copyright struck because of the soundtrack. But in Man of Steel, the Kryptonians fly in dick spaceships. Dick spaceships. Take me seriously, dick spaceships. No. Like most Batman villains, the Riddler became a darker, more three-dimensional character in recent years. I like how even the Batman Wiki's like, yeah, they got worse. Every aspect of this universe just got fucking worse. Whereas he was once portrayed as a playful but sane criminal trickster, he is now a victim of an intense obsessive compulsion. Like I said, Batman's just beating up the mentally ill. Almost every single member of Batman's rogues gallery is either mentally ill or suffering from addiction. So, this was first introduced in the 1966 issue of Batman titled The Riddleless Robberies of the Riddler, in which he tried to refrain from leaving a riddle but failed. So he's just obsessed with riddles. This compulsion has been a recurring theme, albeit with a darker edge. In the 1999 issue of Batman Gotham Adventures, in which he tries to commit a crime without leaving a riddle but fails, and says, and I quote, "You don't understand, I really didn't want to leave you any clues. I really planned never to go back to Arkham, but you left a clue anyway, so I have to go back there because I might need help. I might actually be crazy." And then Batman proceeds to kick the fuck out of him for like 6 more centuries.
Yeah, but to be fair, after collecting some of those fucking Riddler trophies, I think I'd want to punch him too.
And that's one of the problems with the medium the Riddler exists in, where he's consistently portrayed as like this master of like making puzzles and riddles and all that stuff that consistently dumbfound Batman, the world's greatest detective. But because we, the audience, have to be able to get the clues,
yeah, the audience feels clever and that's the intention, but then it's also that in the lore of the comics, only Batman, the world's greatest detective, or like number 2 or 3 after the Robins or whatnot.
Yeah.
Only those people are able to decipher these riddles. But as you say, we've got to be able to decipher them too.
Yeah, which means either we're as smart as Batman or everyone in Batman's universe is a moron. And I think we joked about it, didn't we? When Batman gets lost in time, and it's like Robin solve clues that let him know. And it's like, to be fair, in that universe, Batman could have written on what I'm trapped in time, and Commissioner Gordon, like, I don't know what this is. Commissioner Gordon's like,
the only one that can figure this out is Robin. It's like, he wrote it. It's not a clue.
because Gotham PD is so fucking inept and useless at solving crimes.
Yeah.
This is why Batman ends up existing in the first place in almost every iteration of the character. And it's just, yeah. Then it reminds me a little bit of like the when the best friends played through the Batman Telltale game.
Oh, okay.
And just one of them breaks down when they get like a clue from the Riddler. And in the game, you're supposed to try and solve it, and one of them just says, just throw it out. And they just, I think Wooly says that, and Matt breaks down because he just says, like, have you any idea how many capers by the Riddler will be solved if he just threw away his clues? Just throw it away.
So if you stop solving his riddles...
He'll stop committing crimes.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you ever seen that? I think it's a Tumblr post. They say, I'm imagining a world where Batman and Spider-Man just swap villains.
Oh,
and it's terrifying because you've got Batman just beating up all of Spider-Man's villains with ruthless efficiency, and Spider-Man refusing to take any of Batman's villains seriously.
Yeah.
We actually skipped over the biographical information about the Riddler. So we have a real name, Edward Nigma, and sometimes use the name Nash. So his real name is Enigma.
Yeah.
That's so lame. It's so much better if it's like a pseudonym or a moniker.
It's like pen name that he came up with, not him being born with the name that describes the mental illness he's going to grow up to have.
And they don't have a list of his aliases here, but it reminds me of that moment in The Dark Knight where people think that the guy who's trying to blackmail Batman was supposed to be the Riddler.
Because he's Mr. Reese.
Yeah, his name is like something Reese, so it's Mr. Reese.
But at the same time, if the Riddler was that smart, would you really try and blackmail Batman?
Yeah. To be fair, that shows that everyone in that universe is a moron. Yeah. But he's the only one who realises there are billions of dollars just from R&D going nowhere.
And nobody else in the entire company has noticed for years.
Yeah. It's like you ordered 8 million bat ears, you're clearly Batman. It's like, no.
I love that. It's like, how do we make it like
less suspicious?
Not suspicious that I'm ordering bat-shaped shurikens. I don't know, order 1 million of them.
And put it under R&D. Or when he like drives around in an experimental Wayne Tech tank through the town that he paints black. And no one realises that he's driving around in something that his company made.
And let's bear in mind, if he was and he wasn't Bruce Wayne, the company would have like immediately reported that vehicle stolen.
Yeah.
So there's one person that can drive that car.
And when he's flying around in what is it, like the bat thing, I forget what it's called.
The bat wing.
The bat wing, and he like leaves it on top of a skyscraper for 2 years. No one cleaned up there.
Don't clean roofs, do you?
I think in that universe, if you found that, it's like it's not that fucking problem.
Yeah, just.
The Riddler was popularised by Frank Gorshin's over-the-top Emmy-nominated portrayal in 1960's Batman television series, and followed by Jim Carrey's similar performance. And we have to mention the quote here where Jim Carrey, in all his Jim Carrey-ness, like that's my favourite interpretation of the Riddler. The quote we have to say is when Jim Carrey was in full costume and he tried to talk to, what's his name now? Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones is a very serious actor, and Jim Carrey went over in full costume to try and talk about the craft of acting, and he just responded, I cannot sanction your buffoonery, and walked off. Oh, but Lucas, like, we've got 2 sections here. We have names and powers and abilities. We're not going through his biography because they've reset that universe so many times anyway.
I mean, I do want to hear his names, but like, I guess we're going to find out. I didn't think he had powers and abilities. I thought he just had a problem.
His power is mental illness. So, names and variations. Many adaptations of the Batman mythos have given the Riddler the real name Edward Nigma. That's so lame. Like, really? What were his parents thinking with that one? Occasionally, his full name has been given as Edward Enigma. Some have depicted this as a false name, and his real name is Edward Nashton, who legally changed his name. There we go. That's way better.
That's
a much better backstory. In the French and Quebecese, I think that's that Quebecois. I'm not sure. You're out.
I'm
Done.
out.
His nom de plume has been translated as Le Sphinx, referencing the riddle-posing monster of Greek mythology. That's
really cool.
That's a really good one. The Sphinx. In Germany, the villain has ultimately been called Mr. Sphinx, I kind of like Mr. Sphinx.
I do,
I don't
yeah.
mind Mr. Sphinx. As well as, oh God, I'm going to fuck this all the way up. Der Rattelnacker. Ratschelnacker, which is a strange translation because Ratschelnacker in German will be the man to unravel a riddle.
But he's the one setting the riddles.
Okay, in Italy, he's called Enigmista, which is the literal translation of Riddler. Similarly, the character's Finnish name is a word I'm not going to try and pronounce. In Mexico and Latin America, he's known as El Asesino, which translates to the Riddler again. So a lot of countries just literally the Riddler or Riddle translated to their language. In Brazil, the character is known as Charada, the Portuguese translation of charade.
Yeah, that's
I don't mind that,
pretty
he's
cool.
putting on that, a show, a performance, if you will, that you have to solve to figure out, what they're referencing. In Spain, he's simply known as Enigma. In Denmark, he's known as... Can we do an entire series of me trying to pronounce foreign words? Gekeren, which loosely translates to a person who plays tricks on others, though not necessarily through the use of through riddles. In Sweden, he is known as Gatan, which is Swedish for the riddle, or Gatanman, which is riddle man. In Russia, he's got a 6 in it. What? This one's got a 6 in it. It's just Russian for Rebus, which is Russian for the mystery man. So powers and abilities. Genius level intelligence. So he is a supreme problem solver, criminal mastermind. His mind excels with puzzles, mind games, and manipulations. He is also quite skilled with engineering and technology. We've got to be on it. Mm-hmm. If he's making like giant question mark shaped guns, would that be
I want to see that.
I want to see like it's the greatest riddle ever. He just shoots Batman, and then Batman spends like years trying to figure it out. And Riddle's like, I was done. Just shoot Batman.
Oh.
So I'm just imagining the Riddler at the top of like a building with a sniper rifle. I solve this one, Batman.
I love though the giant like scannable question marks that you find in the Arkham games. Because that means either the Riddler or one of like I don't know his mates or something went out and painted a giant invisible question mark across like multiple landmarks so that Batman could fly into the air and line it up correctly, and they did it all over the city.
To be fair, though, that's the kind of thing the Riddler would do to fuck with Batman. Because he knows Batman's got to solve it. And then we have expert detective. He has great deductive skills, comparable to Batman. Kind of makes sense, I suppose. Like,
They've got to have that back and forth, haven't they?
Will's great. And I do like the idea of a villain who poses a threat to Batman's mind and his intellect as opposed to beating him up. Independently wealthy, has a vast fortune acquired over years of crime, as well as legally. I'm going to say, if he's not independently wealthy if he fucking stole it all.
Independently wealthy, trust fund plus crime.
I like the idea, though, of someone who's like, I've got all this money, what am I going to do at crime? And if you were a criminal, where would you rather be a criminal? Would you rather be a criminal in Metropolis, where Superman can just solve the problem in 3 seconds, but you're not going to get beaten up? Or would you rather commit crime in Gotham, where you can probably get away with it for a bit, but when you get caught, you're going to get viciously beaten after death?
See, in Gotham, it's not too bad, because all you have to do is stick to petty crime.
Now, I'm guessing Batman beats up petty criminals.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he does, but at the same time, there's so much of it going on in Gotham, because it's such a shithole.
That's fair.
The odds are you might get away with it. He can only punch so many people in one night, while also dealing with a rogues gallery of, like, the Penguin send him a message that I'm going to get someone eaten by a shark.
The thing is that if I was a criminal in that universe, I'd just move to, like, Chicago.
Oh, 100%.
Go to any other city. Do you know what? I'd emigrate to Gorilla City. I want to know, could you, like, study at Gorilla University?
But the thing is, try commit a crime there. Where everyone that you piss off is, like,
Psychic
giant gorillas.
People in the comments, let us know, is it possible to study and live in Gorilla City in the DC canon? I want to know.
Like, can you go to uni there?
Yeah, could you, like, go on a gap year to Gorilla City? I want to know. Escapologist. The Riddler is adept in escapology. Since childhood, he's been a big fan of the late, great Harold Houdini, using his skills to build infamous, elaborate death traps and to easily escape handcuffs. So he uses his abilities of escapology to build things that you can't escape from, and then Batman escapes every single time.
Including, I only just remembered.
What's this?
Giant racetracks for him to solve. I forgot.
Oh, he builds like Riddler race courses, doesn't he?
Racetracks. I've only just remembered.
Like, take me seriously as a super criminal. I'm building racetrack, and Batman's like, woohoo! This is sick. Oh, and then we have equipment, the Riddler's cane, a steel shaped cane as a wide variety of technological devices and weapons like holograms, security bypass, and electrical blasts. And then a shaped grappling gun. You've got to respect his commitment to branding. Like, put that in the Robert Pattinson movie. I would lose my shit if, like, Joe, that outfit he's wearing, if that gets knocked off by Batman and he's wearing the Jim Carrey skin suit underneath, and then he just turns into an absolute fucking farce. Because that seems like the kind of thing that Robert Pattinson would be super into, because he's a huge fucking weirdo. Did you see that? Like, there was an interview with him recently where he's trying to talk about how much he played Final Fantasy VII and no one gives a fuck.
It's like, oh, but it's how all men learn about love. It's like, what are you on about, Robert?
But did you see the one as well where like, he turned his phone off and just went to sleep because they were messaging like, you need to come work out, and he's like, no. So you need to get buff. He's like, I don't wanna. Weapons, an automatic handgun. In the Batman Forever game, he shoots bubbles. And he has exploding jigsaw puzzle pieces and crossword puzzle throwing nets. Yes! This is what I want! Would you like to end on some trivia?
Let's go.
Okay, so it's interesting to note that the 4 main villains in Batman, the Joker, the Penguin, and Catwoman, the Riddler was the only one to never enter the Batcave in the 1960s Batman series.
And he's meant to be the smart one.
Oddly enough, in the film series, the Riddler, Jim Carrey, was the only one who does enter the Batcave. That's the only bit of trivia.